Hey everybody, it's your old pal Steve Moore here, owner of Run More, this fabulous brick and mortar running shop located in Westminster, Maryland. Today we'll be talking about the all-new Brooks Ghost Max 2 that is coming out in August of 2024. This is a big new updated shoe. If you actually watch our channel in 2023, we were doing our end of year shoe awards that we kind of made up. And I actually named the original Ghost Max 1 as my favorite shoe of 2023. Not necessarily on my favorite shoe, but just some of the shoe specs that we look here at the shop as far as people coming back for maybe another pair, or a shoe that did way better than we really originally forecasted, or a shoe that basically when we looked at what we thought the shoe would be, performed much better in a variety of different categories. That's what the Ghost Max 1 was. So we were very excited to try the Ghost Max 2, and now I've logged some miles in it, so I have some thoughts on it. But let's first get into some of the specs on the new Ghost Max 2. This shoe is $150. On the men's side, it is 10.8 ounces, and on the women, it's 9.5 ounces. It has a 6mm drop from a 38mm high down to a 33mm low. It's got an engineered mesh upper, and it features a new DNA Loft version 3 midsole, which is a nitrogen-infused midsole, and it features a glide roll rocker platform. So, the Ghost Max 2. This was a whole new direction for Brooks in 2023. The original Ghost Max, was sort of come out with the idea of being I hate saying it, a Hoka killer. When we first were introduced to the shoe, that was sort of the directive we were getting from Brooks. It's we're going to make a shoe that's going to compete with some of the other stuff on the wall. And I think that's first why I was not that jazzed about the Ghost Max, because typically when brands come in here, and it happens a lot, when brands will come in and say, we made a shoe that's going to take down the big guy, and it's our version of their other shoe. And it always irks me. I'm always in the do your shoe. Don't make a shoe like another person's shoe. So when I first was introduced to the Ghost Max, I already had sort of I'm not going to love this shoe because I'm really just trying to be like something else. But they actually did a spectacular job, and they took some ideas from another shoe and I thought improved in a lot of ways. So really this shoe was fun and light and airy and gliding, all the things that I was hoping it would be. It did a spectacular job on it. So I was super excited to get a pair of these on my feet and take them for some miles. So I actually went down to Ocean City this past week with my boys and got to run some miles up and down Coastal Highway and on the Great Boardwalk in Ocean City, Maryland. And now I have some thoughts that I would love to share. First off, I will say Brooks does a masterful job as far as sizing go. I will say, as somebody who's been dealing with a lot of foot stuff going on, I always feel good putting a Brooks shoe on as far as the width and accommodation goes. Especially the last 2 years, I feel like they've done a better job of just widening things a pinch and maybe just giving it a little bit extra length. Really, we rarely see things coming back from Brooks with size exchanges because you're pretty good getting out of the gate, finding what's right, your natural fit, and ordering that size. The other thing I noticed right out of the gate putting the shoe on, it definitely felt heavier than the previous iteration. We were talking about how this shoe was so light and airy with version 1, and this just felt a little more sturdy underfoot. Not necessarily in a bad way. I was just very aware of it. And sometimes there's half-ounce differences between models, and I don't think about it. I'm not that aware of it, but this happened to be a shoe that I put on immediately and said, this feels heavy, this feels denser. But on the positive side, one of the negatives that we had on the Ghost one is that while it was so light and airy, sometimes the durability wasn't as good as we had hoped. That was one of the few knocks on this shoe, was it could flatten out a little bit faster. It just didn't have 500 miles of life out of it, especially if sort of you were a bigger folk. And I have some big guy certified customers in here, one of them in particular, who love the Ghost Max, got multiple pairs of them, but he didn't get as much mileage out of them as he wanted to, and you could physically and you could see the shoe was starting to go on him much faster than some of the other models he wore. This is a much denser midsole. This nitrogen-infused DNA Loft midsole definitely has a little more heft to it. So while that can be a bit of a negative when you put it on your foot, I think by the time you're ready to replace this shoe, you're going to get some more miles out of it compared to the first one. So yes, it's a negative, but yeah, it's kind of actually also a plus to it. Taking it down on the boardwalk, I found that this shoe is really performing at its best in that nice middle point in your pace. Look, if you're one of those people who has that, I want that one shoe to do everything in, maybe to be my long, slow distance day and also be my workout shoe, this might not be it. But if you're looking for that just everyday trainer for like my meaty runs, my recovery day runs, like just those, like I'm gonna be pretty close to my consistent pace, not doing speed work in it, maybe not going for like really slow runs, this shoe will find a good home for you. You just have to be kind of aware of what you're using it for. I tried to do some faster stuff in it, and I didn't find it to perform as well as I did the predecessor. I actually did some speed work in this. I know it wasn't necessarily designed for it, but it was so light, I was fine turning some quick laps in it. Just picking up the pace for even a mile, mile and a half finishing up Coastal Highway, I found this shoe to be sloppy. I found it to be a little more slappy. I just didn't find the glide to be there as much as I did on the first one when trying to go fast. But keeping it in just my like everyday pace, like really not trying to vary too much, nice, smooth, efficient, fine, fun, protected, with all the things that I kind of want, were still there in this shoe. I just don't necessarily think I had the same light feeling that I had in version 1. I don't feel like the glide was quite as there in version 2 as I did version 1. I think also part with the new midsole, this is the same DNA Loft midsole that they're using in stuff like the glycerin, you know, this nitrogen infused midsole. And this shoe, quite honestly, when I closed my eyes, it almost felt more like a glycerin than it did a Ghost Max 1. And I'm not saying that's a good thing or a bad thing. It just was a surprising thing, because I think one of the things I loved so much about the original Ghost Max 1 was it was like its own thing. It didn't feel like any other Brooks shoe. I think that's one of the reasons why we pulled this shoe so frequently. We had such success with this shoe, is that, you know, people that would come in and say, I want to try this other brand, I might say, but you want to try this shoe too, because it's not like a Brooks shoe. It's kind of like something else. It gave us so many different reasons and options to pull it because it was such a unique shoe. This shoe starts to feel like some other shoes in the Brooks line now. So I don't know if I feel that same separation between this shoe and some of the other stuff that Brooks is coming out with. I think without sharing too much information behind the scenes, there's going to be some stuff coming out from Brooks later this year that might actually feel more like the Ghost 1 or the Ghost Max 1 in my humble opinion. So this almost now is starting to blend in with some of the other Brooks stuff out on the wall, and then coming down in later in 2024, we might see some stuff that's a little more energized and a little more smooth glidey like we're accustomed to on the Ghost 1. Fit, feel, function, I still very much like this shoe. I think this shoe will do very fine for Brooks. It caught me off guard from what I expected this shoe would be coming from the 1 to how it performed and felt underfoot. Just my thoughts. I would love to hear your thoughts on this shoe, because I know a lot of people are really jazzed about this. We've had a lot of people that were, when's the new Ghost Max 2 coming out? I've heard some new colors are coming out there that look cool. I love the color on the new one that I just got myself. So anyway, if you have any questions on this shoe, leave them down below and we'll try to get back to you as soon as we can. And if you wanted to purchase the fine new Brooks Ghost Max version 2, we'll have a link down on our website. Head on over there, enter promo code RUNMORE, and you'll save 10%. We'll ship it out for free. Thanks so much for watching, and if you're in the greater Westminster, Maryland area, stop on by and say hello, and do me a favor, like and subscribe to our channel. Thanks a lot, happy running, we'll see you around town.